Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Today, I am going to take a first look and page through the Tanares role-playing game 4-5e from Dragori Games. Now, this slipcase set is available now. It contains the 3 core books for Tanares 4-5e, as well as a Game Master screen. Carries an MSRP of $139.99. You can get each separately for MSRPs of $49.99. You can also get them in PDF for $29 each, or you can get the bundle, which I do not believe includes the Game Master screen, in PDF. So all 3 books for a special price of $75 over at DriveThruRPG. All that said, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got the slipcase set for Tanares. A few things to mention before we dive on in. The fine folks over at Dragori Games were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. These days, it's important you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page of the 3 volumes in this slipcase set, but I do want to give you a good feel for what this role-playing game is all about. And then I should point out, I believe the 3rd book is an adventure book. So if you're a player and your game master has picked up Tanares, or maybe they've ordered Tanares, just haven't started running it for you yet, you might want to tune out once we get to that 3rd volume. So first off, I'm going to get the shrink wrap off of this. And it looks like each of the books also has shrink wrap. So that's fine. I will grab that. And then we will actually save the Game Master screen for last. Oh, looks like we get a poster map too of the land. So I will be the first to point out, I know pretty much nothing about this role-playing game outside of the fact that the setting is from a board game, a fantasy board game that is out there. And I want to say it's Tanares Arena, something along those lines. I do have a few releases for this role-playing game that we're going to be taking a look at. One of them is going to be a box set for you to be able to play this role-playing game without a game master. So I know that is a big selling point for this game. So we will be taking a peek at that shortly. So first of all, let's jump on into these books and take a peek. I'm going to get the shrink wrap off of this one. I think this is set in kind of a dystopian fantasy world. Let's see, do we have anything on the back here? We do. So this is, once again, the player's guide. Create unique characters. Dive into the player's guide to Tanares, a treasure trove crafted for both Tanares and any 5e setting. Whether you're exploring Tanares' realms of your imagination or established worlds, this guide offers unmatched versatility. Discover 4 unique classes, 4 simple classes, expansive additions, new species, and more. So I'm not going to read everything that was on there, just kind of give us an idea. So let's crack this on open. So the fine folks over at Dragori Games reached out and asked me if I'd be interested in taking a peek. So of course I popped over, took a look at the Kickstarter, and I was like, hey, you know what? This looks pretty interesting. So I'm like, yeah, sure. Send it along. So it looks like these are some of the folks who worked on this. Let's take a look. Some of the credits here. So here's our credits page. I think these are just some luminaries because I'm not seeing them in the game design portion. Interesting. Maybe they have made some sort of contribution to Tanares, but we've got Ed Greenwood, Robert Schwalb, Jeff Grubb, Shane Hensley. This is like a who's who. Pretty cool. Pretty nice. All right, so let's take a look here. Step into a world of adventure with the Player's Guide to Tanares, your gateway to the thrilling world of, yes, you guessed it, Tanares. This book is your key to unlocking endless possibilities, designed to work seamlessly with all official 5e material so you can dive right in and start playing. While rules are an essential component of the game, they're not meant to be a barrier to roleplay. Instead, they're tools to help you and your group create an unforgettable experience. So we've got this broken down into chapter 1, species. So I guess it's going to give us a Tanares take on our classics like the dwarf, the elf, halfling, humans. We've got dragonborn orcs, tieflings. We've got some new species. So we've got 4 new species there, new classes, as well as subclasses, new backgrounds, character options, and optional rules. So it looks as if all of this is going to be player facing. So it's all regarding player character creation here. Welcome to Tanares, a high fantasy world that blends familiar fantasy elements with unique twists, inviting players to embark on a deep world of magic, eldritch aberrations, and intrigue. In Tanares, heroes create their own legends, shaping the course of history. So we have medieval high fantasy. Says Tanares is a world bound by the Melrokian curse, a powerful force that has shaped its fate for generations. The curse originated from the conflict between the gods and the ungods, malevolent beings that feed on the sins, negative emotions, and corrupted souls of mortals. Whenever mortals engage in war, the surge of corrupted souls empowers the ungods, unleashing a chain of events that results in widespread destruction so huge that it can wipe entire civilizations. Aha! So this is a European company, and I will say that that sort of has that European fantasy role-playing vibe to it, right? I tend to see European fantasy role-playing games tend to kind of engage in far more serious subjects a lot of times than what we might see here in the States. So here we've got a breakdown of dwarves and Tanares. It's like elves. Yep. So it looks like we're going to get 4 pages devoted to each. Well, I say that and then there's 6. We've got the halfling. Humans only had a couple of pages. Uncommon species, the dragonborn, orcs, tieflings. I will say, just flipping on through here, we seem to have some pretty solid artwork and then some artwork that's not very uniform with the rest of this book, at least from what I'm seeing so far. We've got the gloom folk, which are poisonous scorpion elves. Okay. Soulborn. It's like a few pages devoted to that. Not even going to try to pronounce that. The Taimaku. Say I did try to pronounce it. Probably pronounced it wrong. And now we're going to get into our new classes. So we've got the Dragon Blade, Mad Walker, and Redeemer, as well as the Elementalist. So we've got those 4. So in order to keep this video to a reasonable length, I am going to jump through a lot of pages here. Just keep in mind that as far as the reviews will go, I will have separate reviews for each of these books. So I am sharing a first look at the Slipcase set, which has the 3 volumes, but the reviews videos that I will share are going to be for each individual book. So keep that in mind. So it looks like we're going through a section here with spells. Got a bookmark here. Looks like we've got quite a lot of new spells here as I'm flipping on through. What are these? Are these rituals? Oh, mutations for aberrants. Assassin stain, bat parts, deadly tentacles, nefarious dinner. Okay, so here we've got some stat blocks. So this is our bestiary here. Aspect of fear, aspect of greed, arachne ambusher, the nightmares. We have the nightmare keeper, nightmare guardian, nightmare warrior. So I can say this kind of a, beholder, eye tyrant sort of thing going on there. Now we're going to get into, I think these were backgrounds. Oh, it says class features. Oh, simplified classes. Okay. Got the brawler, the mage, priest. And then we got pretty much their pre-gen for each of them. The barbarian. So it's also giving us a breakdown of what our classes are like in this setting. Druids. Well, this does look pretty interesting. Like I said, some of the artwork is pretty cool. Like, I mean, that's pretty nicely done. And then some is sort of like, looks way too computer generated or assisted, I should say. So it looks like we're going to wrap up most of the book with the look at the various different classes and how they play out in Tanares. We've got some new backgrounds like the cartographer, dragon hunter, occultist, some new feats, detective, lifesaver. I think I saw brewer, some spell lists, some more spell descriptions. This is packed with content, I will tell you that much. So it looks like we've got some domain play with structures, legendary rewards. This is the arena. I think this is where the board game comes into play, right? Is the arena. We have a bonus subclass fighter, which is Amazon. All right, so that's a peek inside the player's guide. Next is the campaign source book, which I believe is the game master's book. So got a dragon on the cover there. Take a peek at the back. In Tanares' source book, high fantasy collides with eldritch horror in epic fashion. You will find diverse fantasy lore to inspire your campaigns in Tanares or any other setting. The hundreds of plot hooks, NPCs, organizations, religions, and unique locations are finally crafted to elevate your campaign. So included in this book are 17 factions and organizations, 18 religions and deities, 23 regions and realms, and over 70 new monsters. All right, so let's take a peek. as far as the production quality of the books, pretty nice, pretty nice. I think these will hold up fairly nicely. Paper stock is a little bit thicker than what we see in the Wizards of the Coast Dungeons and Dragons releases. So I should point that out. So we've got our credits for the campaign book here. Again, we'll give credit where credit is due. And then we will kind of dive on in. So we've got some pages that are like right off the press because some of the pages are stuck together here. Okay, that's the world overview here. So talking about campaigns in Tanares' core themes. So we got the struggle against corruption, eldritch horror, heroism, the Cold War. It says Tanares teeters on the brink of war as factions compete for dominance. Espionage, political strife, crafting stories. It's a breakdown of the curse. Looks like we're going to see some artwork reutilized once again because some of these art pieces I already saw in the player's book. It's like we're going to get into the various different nations, the various different factions. These deities, I think these are, yep, there we go, the religions. Allied forces. Forces of Darkhall. These are the baddies, no doubt. So now we're going to get into the penumbral plane. Different regions on that plane. Gods and religions again. So I wonder if these are just on that other plane. I don't know. Rocking through kind of as quickly as I can here, just so we can get a look at all three of these volumes. It's like more setting information here. The capital city of the empire. Looks like this is a gazetteer section of the book as far as various different regions. Actually, it looks like the book was recycling some of the artwork from itself because those four rulers there, I've seen that artwork earlier in the book too. I mean, that's fine. It's okay. I mean, this isn't like this is a major role playing game publisher. I honestly think that Tanares is their first venture into a role playing setting. So, as I mentioned before, I believe this is built on the skeleton of a board game or the setting of a board game. So, we've got various different domains and their spells. We're going to get into our bestiary at some point here. But it looks like this book is also going to be over 300 pages, just like the player's book. I will say it seems as if, especially this volume so far, kind of just jumps around a bit. That there are sections here that you would think that, we'd have a gazetteer section altogether. It seems like things are kind of scattered around unless this is a book about a bunch of different planes and I'm just missing the sections where it's like, oh, okay, so this is this plane, that plane. So it looks like we're going to get some history once again. And then we have life in Tanares, the economy, transportation, holidays, food, some NPCs maybe. Here's our bestiary, some of the various different monsters. Which I thought we saw these stat blocks in the player's book, which I'm kind of surprised that we would see that in a player facing book because myself, at least personally, as a game master, I don't want my players to have access to any of that information, at least not stat blocks. So we got drakes. So from the penumbral plane, got some of these creatures here. Got some gloom folk. The Iron Hand. Looks like it's a military force. Kemets. All right. I think this is how we're going to wrap this up is with our bestiary. Okay, that looks pretty weird. The penumbral aberration. And some magic items. And our index. And this clocked in at 356 pages. So that is the campaign source book. And then last, we have Adventure in the Realms of Madness. So I guess this is going to fit into our spooky September. I didn't realize that this role-playing game had an eldritch horror element to it. But as we can see, it certainly does. Right, so this is Adventure in the Realms of Madness. Venture into the penumbral plane. Get ready for In the Realms of Madness, an exciting adventure that begins with a thrilling investigation and leads your characters to face the horrors of the penumbral plane orchestrated by the sadistic villain Tenebrisian. Taking a stab at that pronunciation. So it is 8 comprehensive chapters, features a formidable enemy, and there is open world exploration. Let's jump on in. So keep in mind, this is an adventure book. So if you are a player, and as I mentioned before, maybe your game master has picked this up, just hasn't started running this yet, or maybe they're talking about picking this up, probably want to tune out now because even though I know nothing about this adventure, we're going to see some spoilers as I page through. So let's jump on in. Once again, we'll take a look at that credits page. And let's take a look. So once again, this is broken up into 8 chapters. Looks like we've got some appendices as well. So it looks like we might get a new subclass. So let's see. Adventures in the Realms of Madness starts as a thriller investigation and evolves into an exploration of the penumbral plane, a dark and nightmarish mirror of the material plane filled with horrific eldritch creatures. The plot behind the adventures can be summarized as follows. The cult of Shadow Wing, serving the ungods, yearns for the penumbral plane to consume Tanares. Composed of 4 factions, the cult's most influential sect, the Shadow Lords, bows to Lipoic, the penumbral avatar dragon. This powerful dragon ensures obedience through oppression, coercion, and manipulation while serving Zolvath, the sire of the ungods. All right, so we've got a bit of a conspiracy. There's our curse again, as well as the Cold War, political maneuvering, and so forth. So we've got our adventure structure over the 8 chapters. Discussion about adapting this for other campaign settings. So we've got our chapter 1, Murder in the Ballroom. The adventurers are invited to an art gathering to mingle with nobles and faction envoys. They may obtain valuable insights into different factions' agendas amid the party's luxury and intrigue. jumping on through here. Oh, that's kind of cool. So a painting. I wonder if we'll have a section at the end that'll have all our handouts. Here are, it looks like, our important NPCs, including what appears to be a murder victim. It was Tony, the errand boy, back there. Well, quite a lot of NPCs in this. There you go. There's the murder. All right. Chapter 2, The Murderer's Whereabouts. Following the heinous crime committed at Zalir's mansion, the city of Heroes Rise is in a heightened state of vigilance. Unknown criminals remain hidden within its walls, and yet unknown to most, menacing penumbral creatures have begun to roam the streets at night. Dun, dun, dun. Looks like we've got some new monsters here. I do not believe we had these in the campaign book or the player book either. So we've got some keyed locales for the city. Looks like we've got a big combat taking place here. Then, chapter 3, Gary's hideout. Is it Gary Gygax's hideout? It says the cult of Shadowwing is biding its time, waiting for Tenebrisian's plan to come to fruition. Their task is to create the greatest destruction possible in Heroes Rise, and they are continuously summoning more horrors from the penumbral plane using their secret hideout. Damn you, Gary, in your secret hideout. It's like we got a map key for that hideout. I say this looks kind of interesting. So now it looks like the player characters are actually going to travel to the penumbral plane. Oh, yeah. So the Valley of Eyes locations. So it looks like we've got some keyed locales. More stat blocks. I will say that I like the fact that we are getting these sort of bestiary stat blocks, these NPC stat blocks, where we would need them as a game master, as opposed to them just being all found at the back of the book, which might also be the case. We might also see them there too, because some role playing game releases do that. They will, Chaosium Inc. is famous for doing that over the years. All right, so it looks like they are battling it out on that penumbral plane, and now I think they've returned to Tanares. So we've got some side quests as well. There's a doppelganger vampire. All right, spoiler alert. Looks like we're still going through the various different districts of this city, and then we're getting places of interest. So we may have wrapped up the adventure. This might be more of a gazetteer for this campaign. It seems like it. I think we've gone through the adventure, and now this is more material for the game master. Looks like we've got some. It looks like this is still areas of the city, but I guess that was one of the chapters, because now we're in chapter 7. That was weird because it didn't come across as being an adventure chapter. It looked like that was more information for the game master. The Shadow Wing Lair. Following the exploration through the streets of the imperial capital city and pursuing the trail of the cult of Shadow Wing, the characters finally find the location of their secret underground fortress, a secret temple dedicated to the ungods, lying beneath an old inn in Old Town. Looks like Gary's still involved in this. So looks like this is the inn, keyed map to that. Then we've got this temple. Pretty cool looking map there. It's kind of a dungeon delve, looks like there. Then the final chapter in the Realms of Madness. After successfully uncovering Tenebrizon's plot, the characters will venture into the penumbral plane to confront the mad dragon himself and thwart his plans. So I think this is a return once again to the penumbral plane. This is going to be the big showdown with the big bad. So altogether, this looks like this adventure is about 300 pages in length. So you are going to get a lot of gaming out of this book. Certainly tell there. Let's see. It's like this is the finale. And then here are our NPC stat blocks. This is a new subclass, the Awakened Agent. So as far as the stat blocks go, it looks like the important stat blocks for different creatures and NPCs and stuff like that are not at the back of the book. They are encountered where you would most likely need them most. And then we've got the involved factions and kingdoms. And then adapting this for other campaign settings. An index of NPCs. And that is one of the board games, Tanares Adventures. So there you go. As I've mentioned throughout taking a look at this, that this is a setting from a series of board games, which is now making an appearance as a role-playing game utilizing 5e mechanics. So we've got Adventure in the Realms of Madness, campaign source book, as well as the player's guide to Tanares. And each of these are available individually for $49.99. Grab the PDFs for $29 at DriveThruRPG. And then, of course, we're taking a look at the Slipcase set, which you can grab for $139.99 or get the bundle at DriveThruRPG for $75. Here is a map of the world. So this is the map of Tanares here. A nice detailed poster map. And it is dual-sided, so I'm going to take a guess that this is probably the capital city. Yeah, because there's an imperial palace. So that would lead me to believe that this is the capital city. And it's showing the various different districts. So there we have got that. And then lastly, we will take a peek at the Game Master screen. Once I fold this back up. And this is landscape. Actions and combat, conditions, food, drink, lodging. So pretty standard stuff here. All right. And then the artwork for the landscape. Just like so. All right. Pretty cool. So this was a first look at the Tanares role-playing game for 5e Slipcase set from Dragori Games. As I mentioned earlier, be sure to keep your eyes peeled because I will be sharing reviews of each of the books individually. So I'll tell you what I think of this as well. Also, I have some other Tanares releases we will be taking a look at, including a box set, which is to make this GM list, which I've heard is one of the big selling points of Tanares, and we will find out. All right, that is it for this time out. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell because it'll not only let you know when I share videos such as this first look and page through, It'll also inform you when my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. Of course, when you're not watching videos here on the channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and until I see you next time, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.